inmate shot during daring escape attempt at Belize Central Prison. Corozal Town moves towards climate resilience with major green project in the works. And Belize, Mexico, and Guatemala to hold trilateral talks on Tren Maya, Mayan biosphere, and regional cooperation. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Tuesday, August 12th, 2025.
World shifts to regional supply chains, Belize is poised to lead. This is where blue innovation meets green ambition, and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Caribe in San Pedro. From agribusiness to aquaculture, from renewable energy to digital services, from tourism to trade, this is the future of regional integration. And it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025, Bridging Markets, Building Resilience, September 3rd to 5th at Sunset Caribe, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
Josetón presenta Los Cumbia Kings. Los Cumbia Kings en concierto. Este 30 de agosto en el Estadio del Pueblo, Orange World Belice. Los Cumbia Kings en vivo.
No tengo dinero ni nada que dar.
No te pierdas el concierto del año que te hará bailar como nunca. General 150, VIP 200 y Platino $350. Boletos a la venta en la aplicación QuiPass, disponible en Android y iPhone. También con Mechas, gracias al patrocinio de
BTV, Mechas,
La aplicación Express Plus,
Cuellos,
Instituto Nacional de Cultura e Historia,
Lock and Loaded, Mark Production, Quick Pass, Lighthouse.
The new designs for Belize's new banknotes have been revealed. But why are only two national figures featured on the banknotes? The individuals honored on our new banknotes have received Belize's highest distinction, the Order of the National Hero. As of January 2025, only two persons have been awarded this title. The Right Honorable George Cadle Price, regarded as the father of the nation, who was the first Prime Minister of Belize and renowned leader in our road to independence, and the Honorable Philip Stanley Wilberforce Golson, one of the longest-serving members of the House of Representatives, known for his unwavering stance on protecting and preserving Belize. By featuring these heroes, we honor their invaluable contributions to the development of our nation. New look, same value, heroes' legacy. Learn more at www.centralbank.org.bz. A message from the Central Bank of Belize.
Good evening. With your newscast, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7, I am Jaden Gomez. A dramatic escape attempt at the Belize Central Prison this morning ended with a prisoner being shot and hospitalized after breaching a secure perimeter and attempting to flee the compound. At approximately 9:20 a.m. on Tuesday, a correctional officer assigned to one of the high-security blocks notified the tower personnel that recreation time for inmates was about to begin. As cell doors were opened, inmate Nare Parshu, born March 14, 1995, was later spotted in a restricted area behind the facility, moving towards one of the guard towers. According to reports from the tower guard, Parshu ignored multiple verbal commands to stop and return to the building. Instead, he proceeded toward the moat surrounding the facility and jumped into the water. As the escape attempt became apparent, the tower guard discharged 3 warning shots. Simultaneously, another tower officer observed the situation and broadcasted an emergency alert over the radio, shouting, "Escape!" Warning shots were then fired from several towers across the compound. Despite the warnings, the inmate managed to climb the perimeter fence and reportedly reached the top. At that point, the original tower guard discharged a round intended to stop the escape. The officer reported that the shot struck Parshu, causing him to fall to the ground. Responding officers quickly arrived at the scene and found Parshu with gunshot wounds to his head and neck. He was immediately brought back inside the facility, where the prison's medical team stabilized him before he was transported to the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital, KHMH, via ambulance. Officials confirmed that Parshu arrived at the hospital alive. Authorities are conducting a full investigation into the incident, including a review of security footage and standard use of force protocols. Of note is that Parshu has had a troubled past, as his mother told the court just a few weeks ago that he had threatened to kill his whole family. In another incident just a few days later, he punched an 8-year-old nephew in the face. Parshu was remanded to prison on July 21st after the incident with his nephew. Ultimately, he was given bail for that charge, but pending fines from unrelated traffic charges led to his remand. His mother had also previously told the court that Parshu had a bullet lodged in his head from an attempt of his life years ago. Parshu was shot to the head in 2018 when he survived a robbery attempt and was shot while struggling with the robber. In court, Parshu claimed he was merely disciplining the boy, saying, "I only gave him a tiny little bat, nothing much, you know." According to medical reports, however, the child had visible swelling to the left side of his face, measuring approximately 1 centimeter. Despite facing a potential 5-year prison sentence for the offense, Parshu was spared jail time and instead fined $800. However, Parshu's freedom was short-lived due to outstanding court fines totaling $360 from 3 traffic convictions the week before, including driving without insurance, with no valid driver's license, and with an unlicensed vehicle. He was ordered to pay $150 immediately to avoid further detention. Unable to pay, he was remanded to the Belize Central Prison. Corozal Town is taking a bold step toward climate readiness. In late July, Mayor Rigo Veos met with his visiting consultants who will partner with the Corozal Town Council and the government of Belize to develop feasibility studies for a major climate resilience project. The initiative, which will also benefit 3 other municipalities, is being spearheaded by the Ministry of Economic Transformation, MET, with support from the Central American Bank for Economic Integration, CABEI. The consultant's mission is to provide technical expertise for a comprehensive project proposal that will be submitted to the Green Climate Fund for approval. During their visit, the consultants witnessed firsthand the climate-related challenges facing Corozal Town, including severe coastal erosion along the bay and inland erosion caused by underground caves and storm water currents. The project, according to the Mayor Veos, Will also consider flood-prone areas in Chula Vista along Olga Marin Drive and in the Santa Rita area, stressing the urgent need for improved drainage systems to better manage flooding from heavy rainfall.
Tour of a whole town. We gave them a tour of a whole town, especially when it comes to the drainage system, and I'm sure that they grabbed some samples of soil to be tested also, as I noticed that they kept picking up different parts of soil everywhere we went. And they look at the different drains, and the reason for this is for them to come in and have a little view first of all the drainage system that we have. And then they're coming back to go into more detail, and looking at the different drains that we have, and then they will come back to us to give us advices. And then, of course, the plan is to put into place something in black and white where we can also seek funds to be able to follow their advices, and like we know, every rainy season we have certain parts of the town where we have this local flooding. For example, Chula Vista, a part of Olga Marin. Those areas are the most important areas, and the areas we want to concentrate a lot on ensuring that we get the best advices, so that we can find solution for the problems that we have when it comes to flooding. So that was also a very important visit that we had from them. And climate is something it's very unpredictable. And the most we can do is try to balance off, and it's hard to be at par with climate change because it's changing so rapidly, right? But we need to do our share in making sure that we do the right things when it comes to our environment, and we try to mitigate and try to have things in place and be prepared as much as possible so that we can withstand all those heavy rains, because it seems like it's not raining. It's the amount of rain that falls within a certain time is exactly what caused the flooding. It's not like back in the days where it will rain for 5-10 minutes, or it will rain slowly all day. No, it's when it falls in 1 hour, it's hard, heavy rain, and that's what's causing all the flooding right now.
With the ongoing support of Prime Minister Honorable John Briceño and the government of Belize, Mayor Veo says he is confident the project will go a long way in helping to transform Corozal Town into a more resilient and robust community.
We do need it. It's something extremely important. Every year, there's sometime a part of the year that we do have some local flooding, as much as we try to clean the drains to time, because of the amount of rain that falls within a short span of time. So it is very, very important that we get these visits, that we get advices from the professional and technical people, so that we can put the right things in place. It's very important for the town council to have this type of information to know how to move forward with the different issues.
Mayor Veos affirmed the council's commitment to lobbying for sustainable development and forging partnerships with strong institutions to deliver lasting results for the residents. Prime Minister of Belize, Honorable John Briceño, is set to join Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum and Guatemala President Bernardo Arevalo later this week for a high-level trilateral meeting in Mexico. The talks, expected to take place at the end of the week, will center on key matters of shared interest between the three nations, including the ambitious Tren Maya Railway project in Mexico's southeast and the protection and sustainable management of the Mayan Biosphere Reserve, a vast and ecologically significant area that spans across Belize, Mexico, and Guatemala. Regional connectivity, environmental conservation, and economic cooperation are expected to be at the forefront of the agenda as leaders explore ways to strengthen collaboration on projects that have both national and cross-border impact. Following the trilateral discussions, Prime Minister Briceño and President Sheinbaum will hold a separate bilateral meeting to address issues specific to Belize and Mexico. These will include talks on electricity supply and broader energy cooperation, as Belize seeks to enhance its energy security and explore opportunities for renewable resources. In a press conference earlier this week in Mexico, President Sheinbaum shared her eagerness to meet with both countries. Here is an excerpt of that conference.
Sí, vamos el viernes. Es el viernes, ¿verdad? El viernes vamos a tener la mañanera en Chetumal, porque nos vamos desde el jueves en la noche. Nos invitó el presidente Arévalo, hablé con él el viernes, nos invitó a que fuéramos a Guatemala, y sí vamos a estar unas horas en Guatemala. Allá él nos invitó a que tuviéramos la reunión bilateral. Queremos, respetamos y admiramos al presidente Arévalo de Guatemala, así que vamos a ir a Guatemala unas horas. Después regresamos a Calakmul, ahí vamos a recibir al primer ministro de Belice, y hay temas muy interesantes que no quiero adelantar para que puedan ser la nota de ese día, la sorpresa de ese día. Hay muchos acuerdos que hemos tomado con los países de nuestra frontera sur, con quienes tenemos una excelente relación, y ya los vamos a anunciar ese viernes. Entonces vamos a Guatemala, voy a pedir el permiso a la permanente en estos días, ahí me va a ayudar la secretaria de Gobernación y de Relaciones Exteriores. Vamos un momento a Guatemala, regresamos, y en Calakmul tenemos la reunión trilateral, damos conferencia de prensa y de ahí nos quedamos con el primer ministro de Belice.
This week's meetings are seen as an opportunity to deepen regional partnerships and align development strategies, particularly in areas where the country's economic and environmental interests intersect. Coming up next, Belize strengthens HIV response with new MOU to expand prevention and treatment access. Stay tuned.
José Tun presenta Los Cumbia Kings.
Mi dulce niña, tú me fascinas.
Los Cumbia Kings en concierto.
Sabes a chocolate.
Este 30 de agosto en el Estadio del Pueblo, Orange World Belice. Los Cumbia Kings en vivo.
No tengo dinero ni nada que dar.
No te pierdas el concierto del año que te hará bailar como nunca. General 150, VIP 200 y Platino $350. Boletos a la venta en la aplicación Quipas, disponible en Android y iPhone. También con Mechas, gracias al patrocinio de
BTV, Mechas,
La aplicación Express Plus.
Cuellos,
Instituto Nacional de Cultura e Historia.
Lock and Loaded, Mark Production, Quick Pass, Lighthouse.
This is where blue innovation meets green ambition and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Caribe in San Pedro. This is the future of regional integration, and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025, Bridging Markets, Building Resilience. September 3rd to 5th, Sunset Caribe, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
Belize continues to grapple with one of the highest HIV prevalence rates in Central America. with 1.3% of the general population living with the virus. Statistics from the United Nations estimate that around 3,700 people in Belize are living with HIV, but only half are currently receiving treatment. In a move to strengthen the national HIV response, the Ministry of Economic Transformation, MET, and National Health Insurance, NHI, signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, on Monday, aimed at improving access to prevention and treatment services across the country. The agreement seeks to provide nutritional and vitamin support for children living with HIV through the Hand in Hand Ministries program, while also expanding access to pre-exposure prophylaxis (PrEP) services in more primary health care facilities nationwide.
It's important to note that Global Fund has some financing for countries, and Belize have been able to access those financing, and we are now in cycle 7, and the Global Fund provides that to entities that is called principal recipient. So the Ministry of Economic Transformation, then was development, said fit that we have that fiduciary capacity, that skills and knowledge for us to manage that fund. So we applied, and we were able to be approved by the Global Fund to be the principal recipient. So with this initiative that we're having, that we signed just a while ago, it's built that partnership, that social partnership that we have with the National Health Insurance, who was the principal recipient for the last cycle, which is 6. So this will help, this just strengthen our collaboration with them as we move forward implementing this new cycle. The resources, Global Fund give us a grant, about about 3 million for 3 years, right? But government also government has committed some resources. So what we have signed today is about 187,000 of funds that will come from the government of Belize is putting this to NHI so that they could help with the specific target groups of children and vulnerable communities.
Using the resources of the NHI, this partnership, according to General Manager for NHI, Dr. Ramon Figueroa, will ensure equitable access to HIV prevention, testing, and treatment for those most in need.
We will be the ones that do the contracting with the hand-in-hand ministries and GoHowen. Because of our experience with NHI that we contract clinics, we have the experience in contracting and ensuring that we get money, get results for the money that's being invested by government. So our role is really to establish a contract and follow up and ensure that the objectives are met. It will be offered through in a collaboration with Ministry of Health, and all the necessary kits and testing kits and treatment kits will be delivered to our network of contracted facilities, and then they will be trained on the protocols and guidelines, and so it will be much more accessible to the population, as those services are now going to be made available through other clinics.
The National AIDS Commission has welcomed the collaboration, calling it a significant step towards ensuring more equitable access to life-saving care and prevention measures.
Our role at the Secretariat of the National AIDS Commission is to be witnesses to the agreement that was signed today, which we're very excited about, because NHI, the National Health Insurance, comes under the Social Security Board and the government of Belize. And as you know, NHI are the purchasers of services that are provided out there so that our people can have more access to primary health care. Now, the Memorandum of Understanding signed today is between the Ministry of Economic Transformation. Let me correct myself. The MOU today is between the Ministry of Economic Transformation, who are the principal recipients from the Global Fund funding. And that MOU is between the Ministry of Economic Transformation and NHI, well, Social Security Board, but it's to go to NHI, so that the various services can go, especially to children who are living with HIV. The details of the timeline I can't tell you, but as chair of the commission and speaking on behalf of all our commissioners, we're very excited for this kind of memorandum of understanding, because it will certainly help us to reach out to the people and the families and children who need it the most.
In addition to two major projects currently in the pipeline for Corozal Town, Mayor Rigo Veos is reaffirming the town council's commitment to improving infrastructure across the municipality, noting that ongoing upgrades are aimed at making the town safer, more functional, and more appealing for residents and visitors alike. Mayor Veos outlined recent works undertaken by the council, including street repairs, drainage improvements, and enhancements to public spaces, projects he says are critical to supporting the town's growth and resilience. He stressed that these improvements are made possible through the taxes paid by residents and encouraged the community to stay current with their property tax obligations. To support timely payments, the Corozal Town Council is offering a 25% discount on arrears on property taxes during the first weeks of August. Mayor Veos urged residents to take advantage of the incentive, adding that collective responsibility is key to keeping the municipality moving forward.
Yes, we have tried our best to send our grader out. I know the weather is kind of funny because you make our plans and all of a sudden the rain starts, and then you don't want to cause bigger problems with mud, no? So we're trying to find ways to work around the weather, and on the weekends also our grader will be out grading streets and preparing streets for paving also. As we go along working with our infrastructure, we will ensure also that we do other projects, not just infrastructure or just streets, I should say, no? And we will try to do our best to prepare. I know it's the hurricane season already, and even though we have not gotten much rain, we need to be prepared. I ask everyone to ensure not to to throw garbage in their drains around their house, to dispose of it the best way possible. And I want to thank them for their patience. And also one last thing, we are having discounts on property tax. It's from the 5th. It started on the 5th of August, and it will run on only from the 5th to the middle of August, 25% discount on all arrears. And I want to ask the people to take advantage of these discounts now. It's put in place for you guys. We understand that a lot of times that finances are not there, so we ensure that we work hand in hand together with you and ensuring that we have these discounts to make life a bit easier for you.
The tax discount incentive is valid until the 15th of August. Corozal Town is gearing up for a festive and vibrant September, and Mayor Rigo Veos says this year's celebrations will be bigger and better than ever. Speaking ahead of the official launch of the local September celebrations calendar, Mayor Veos shared that a full slate of events is being planned to honor Belize's independence and national pride. Mayor Veos is extending warm invitation to residents from surrounding villages and neighboring Orange Walk town to join in the festivities, especially the highly anticipated Independence Day Parade.
Like every year, we have a good calendar of events, and we will definitely have all the usual things. Of course, a lot of people are looking forward. I have to say, Miss Norma, for our carnival, which has turned out to be extremely famous and well attended. And I want to ask the people to come and experience Corozal's Carnival, the Juve, and the regular 28th night, 21st, and the 9th and 10th. No? Those are the major ones that I will mention right now. We will put out a local calendar that will include just for Corozal Town. That's what we're working out. We're working on it. And I am sure that people are patiently waiting for September because I know that there's a lot of fun happening here at Corozal Town on every September, right? So I want to ask them to look forward when we issue this local calendar, and for them to make plans, make plans, and the invitation is open not only for our Corozalinos, for everybody, including people from Orange Rock, which I know they do come, and the villages. So it's Corozal, it's safe and it's cheaper. So look forward for our September celebrations calendar.
The full calendar of events for Corozal Town will be officially released in the coming days, giving residents and visitors plenty of time to plan for what promises to be one of Corozal's most memorable Independence Day celebrations. There is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
It is truly a proud and historic moment for us here in San Ignacio. It gives me great joy to welcome you all to the official opening of the very first wooden basketball court in our community.
The cost of the project in completion was about $200,000. Honorable Mala was willing to assist us with this project. This is a huge, huge investment for us.
There can be serious development through sports, especially if the right foundation, having the right facilities are in place. Then the programs follow. We can't put the carriage front of the house by having the programs, but we only have outdoor facilities. Belize rain 6 months out of the year, and having outdoor facilities is just not enough.
Our focus is going to be on education because that's a part of using sports as a vehicle to get as many of our athletes to international schools to play football, basketball, volleyball, track, whatever it is. The other thing is health. 33% of our people are afflicted by diabetes, hypertension, or some ailment like that. And those things can be prevented. So we want to create again the facilities where people can go exercise, have fun.
In the heart of the Americas lies a country that connects nations, cultures, and commerce. Belize, where CARICOM, Central America, and southeastern Mexico meet, offers more than beauty. It offers opportunity, a stable democracy, a bilingual workforce. And in this new global trade era, Belize is more than a destination. It's the nexus of tomorrow's investment frontier. A robust logistics and trade infrastructure connects you to over 200 million consumers. And as the world shifts to regional supply chains, Belize is poised to lead. This is where blue innovation meets green ambition, and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Caribe in San Pedro. From agribusiness to aquaculture, from renewable energy to digital services, from tourism to trade, this is the future of regional integration, and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025, Bridging Markets, Building Resilience, September 3rd to 5th at Sunset Caribe, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
The Minister of the Public Service, Governance, and Disaster Risk Management, Honorable Henry Charles Usher, hosted a high-level coordination meeting yesterday with the United Nations Resident Coordinator, Mr. Raul Salazar, and Deputy Resident Coordinator, Mr. Michael Lund, at the Ministry's conference room in the Sir Edney Kane building. The discussions focused on strengthening the ministry's working relationship with the United Nations, identifying areas for deeper cooperation, and exploring opportunities for upcoming projects in Belize under the UN's framework. Key topics included advancing good governance initiatives, enhancing disaster risk management capabilities, and aligning efforts to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, in Belize. Minister Usher expressed appreciation for the UN's ongoing support to Belize and emphasized the importance of building resilient communities through coordinated national and international efforts. He also highlighted the significant role the upcoming UN-led projects could play in enhancing disaster preparedness and response, particularly in the context of climate change. Mr. Salazar reaffirmed the UN's commitment to partnering with the government of Belize, noting that effective collaboration is essential to addressing shared challenges such as climate change, disaster preparedness, and public service modernization. He also expressed enthusiasm for the upcoming initiatives, which will be designed to bring tangible benefits to the people of Belize. Also in attendance was National Emergency Coordinator, Mr. Daniel Mendez. He underscored the critical importance of integrating emergency management strategies into these future initiatives. The meeting concluded with the parties agreeing to maintain close communication and continue pursuing joint projects that will positively impact the country and its people. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is proud to continue our partnership with Taiwan through the project for strengthening metabolic chronic disease prevention and control systems in Belize. As part of this collaboration, the Belize Council for the Visually Impaired, BCVI, the only dedicated institution in our national healthcare system providing specialized eye care services, has received an automated fundus camera along with AI-assisted diagnostic software capable of generating patient education reports. This innovative technology will help us improve diabetic retinopathy care across the country, enabling earlier detection, better patient education, and timely treatment for those in need. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Wednesday, August 13th, here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at www.ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3, thank you for watching and listening, and have a good night.